Which of these essays do you think got the top score of 6? If you are like most students, you will say it is essay 1, and you will be correct. When students look at these subjects, they often note that essay 1 has just more specific subjects. They comment about all this, they in essay 2. They also ask whether it's appropriate to use I in this context, and these are all good observations. Really, though, what separates essay 1 from essay 2, and the reason that you can tell it's the stronger essay without even reading it, is a matter of cohesion. If we say that your writing is coherent or cohesive, we mean that your writing sticks together. And these word roots, hera or hesa, means stick, like you hesitated. You stuck for a moment. Or adhesives, adherents, they're glue and tape. They're sticky things, right? If something's inherent, it's sort of stuck inside you. The more coherent your writing is, the easier it is to read. That's what's important here. And we've already talked about one way to do this. You can tie all your ideas to a central topic. But cohesion isn't just about topic or main idea. It happens at the macro and micro level. Words, word-to-word relationships as well. That comes in 3 forms. There's textual. This is like the big picture cohesion. You've got all these ideas in the essay, but how do they all kind of come together to form one thing? In other words, what's the topic and main idea? By the way, that text is a word root. It means weave, right? Like in a textile, and that's what textual cohesion is all about. How do you weave all the ideas together into one product? But then there's the type of coherence that we're really focusing on in this particular instructional module. That's a lexical. Here we're talking about kind of sentence level cohesion, one idea to the next. How do they connect? So like, for example, let's say you got 2 sentences. I like San Francisco. It's cold and foggy. What's the connection between them? Do you like it because it's cold and foggy, or despite that? Or maybe you like San Francisco when it's cold and foggy, but not under other circumstances. All right. Lex is a word root that means word, right? So we're thinking here about kind of word level cohesion. We'll see some more examples as we progress. There's one other type of cohesion that we'll focus on in another instructional module. That's interpersonal. What's the relationship between writer and reader, or speaker and listener, and how is that reflected in the word choice? A good example of this is, think about the greeting you put at the top of an email. Dear, or to whom it may concern, feels very different than dear, or even just hi or hey. Prefix inter meaning between. Each of these 3 forms of cohesion is demonstrated in the OPI essays. All right, take a look at this first one. Textual cohesion. You can tell what this essay is about. Notice there's a word that the writer keeps repeating again and again. Vietnam, Vietnamese, Vietnamese. This is clearly an essay about Vietnamese or people or Vietnam. And so you get a sense of topic. You also get a sense of main idea. You study this chart, and this seems to be a compare-contrast piece. The writer's comparing Vietnamese people to Americans and finding some differences, right? What's essay 2 all about? I don't know. You would have to read it to find out, right? Because the topics aren't not coming through in the grammatical subjects. These essays also demonstrate lexical cohesion, or a lack thereof. So, for instance, here we see they. Who are they? Well, they're probably the Vietnamese people, right? Their different behaviors. What behaviors? These behaviors: education, dress style, and marriage. This sentence ties right back to the one that came before it, as does this one. Here, who are they? I don't know. Again, you'd have to read the essay and figure it out yourself. And if readers are busy figuring things out, then they're having a hard time reading. They can't really focus on the ideas in the piece as much. And then finally, there's this matter of interpersonal cohesion. And there's this question whether I is appropriate. In many ways, it's not. We'll talk about this more, in another lesson. But when you're writing an OPI test, you don't really know who's going to read it. It might be someone like me. And when I'm reading these OPI essays, I don't really know who wrote it, because people don't put their name on these things. It's just test taker number 357 or something like that. Is this really an appropriate time to be, being personal? Maybe not. If you look here, you'll notice something interesting. Um, Both of these writers, by the way, were international students, and I have a strong suspicion that the writer of Essay One is from Vietnam, and that's how he or she knows all this stuff about Vietnamese people. But notice how this writer is able to draw from what is most likely personal experience without personally getting into the essay and saying I. All right, that's given the context, that's an appropriate choice. All right, but again, what we're really focused on today is lexical cohesion, and as we continue, we'll see some examples of just how we can execute that.